What's up, guys? I just wanted to quickly touch on a subject that is close to home. I've been through two of them in my career, and it's hard for athletes these days to get away, especially female athletes, to get away without having one of these injuries when you're playing at a very high level. So that is the torn ACL. I just wanted to go over 5 tips that I have in terms of getting through the recovery process, which can be long and grueling, and at the same time getting back on the court better than you were before. And then I'm also going to give you guys 5 exercises that help me personally gain strength back in my quads, hamstrings, and overall just got my legs back underneath me, feeling good, feeling confident. So these are going to be my 5 best tips for recovery mentally and physically. And I am fully aware that I am not a doctor, so obviously take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm just sharing my personal experience. Having been through this injury twice, I think I can relate to people who are going through it from a mental standpoint and just the frustration that it can cause because it's such a grueling and long recovery process. And share what worked for me, especially the second time around, because I did recover a lot faster. So I just want to help out anybody in any way that I can by just sharing some advice and some tips that worked for me. My number 1 tip is to be prepared. I mean, do your research, know what you're getting yourself into, know how long the journey to recovery is going to be. You can't expect this to be a quick fix. It's 6 months to a year, and 6 months the earliest, and those are like the incredible miracle recoveries that people have when they come back in 6 months and are on the court and playing and stuff already. So that's not really a realistic expectation, but you have to know that you're in this for the long run, and it's a marathon and not a sprint. And I think it's important for you yourself to be prepared, but I also think it's really key that you have the people around you prepared for what you're about to go through. Obviously, this is not a life or death situation. You're gonna be fine. I'm exaggerating it a little bit there, but in terms of having a support system, though, is gonna be key, especially those first few weeks out of surgery. You're gonna need people around to pretty much help you do everything. So they need to be prepared just as much as you do, that they're not getting into something that they don't know what to expect either. So they have to be willing to help you, and they're gonna have to be patient with you for a while. So be prepared, you and the people who are going to be helping you out. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to move. I made this mistake my first time around after surgery. I was in a lot of pain, obviously, like everybody is. I didn't take the initiative to start doing my exercises and my rehab as soon as I could. I didn't move. I kind of stayed, sedentary, lethargic, whatever, for the first few weeks, and I didn't really get the leg moving at all. So it just made everything harder when I got back into it because I was just so stiff. Obviously, the first couple of weeks, you're not supposed to weight bear or anything like that. Depending on your doctor's orders, everybody is different. There's different severities of the injury. But when I was told I could move, I still didn't move because I was almost too scared to, inflict any more pain upon myself. So my tip number 2 is as soon as you get cleared to put some weight on it and to start moving the leg, do it as soon as possible. It's only going to help you get your range of motion back quicker. Don't just lay around when your doctor's already told you that you can put a little bit of weight on it, start moving it and stuff. Don't wait longer than you have to. Number 3 is going right off of number 2, and that is to do your rehab exercises. Do them at home, do them when you're out, do them in rehab, do them as much as you can. Obviously, you don't want to overwork your leg, but it's really hard to do that, I find. I find that most people, we go into rehab, we do our exercises, and then we leave, and we don't do anything for the rest of the day. I know I was guilty of that my first time around, and that did, again, kind of slow my progress in terms of getting my range of motion back, getting the strength back, because I was only doing everything, once, maybe twice a day. Whenever you find yourself just laying around, do some straight leg raises. Do some bending, just get the leg in motion. The more you do, the more you're going to be able to tolerate when you get to rehab, and the easier everything is going to get. Tip number 4 might be one of the most important ones that I mentioned today, and that is to celebrate the small successes. Take this recovery process in baby steps, and you got to break it down. There's no point of looking long-term right off the bat because it's going to take you way too long to get there, and you're going to be, disappointed if you're not making like substantial progress every single day. So break it down. Your first thing is going to be, bending your leg, putting any weight on your leg, straight leg raises, the little things, getting around on the bike. Those are huge accomplishments, even though they might seem little. But in the grand scheme of things, those are the things that are going to lead up to you walking, starting to run, do all that kind of stuff. So celebrate the small successes and the progress that you're making every day, whether you get 2 more degrees on the flexion or, 2 more degrees, you get your leg to hyperextension, something like that. So like even the small stuff is going to add up in the end. Breaking things down into smaller steps and recognizing when you're accomplishing things over and over again, it's also going to make you less hesitant to go into that next exercise or take that next step, because you already have the confidence from the one before that to accomplish the next goal ahead of you. And the more confident you are going into something, the more likely you are to get it done. And a side note to this tip is, don't rush into something that you're not ready for. If you don't feel good about, putting full weight on that leg yet, how about you just put a little bit, weight bear, holding on to something. Don't jump into something that mentally you're telling yourself that you can't do. If you're telling yourself you can't do it, the odds are it's probably not going to go that well. But at the same time, you can't be scared of everything. You got to be willing to, try something and fail at it. I remember when I first got cleared to jump that I was scared to literally jump over a hurdle, maybe a 3 or 4 inch hurdle. I was scared to single leg jump over that hurdle, and I didn't want to do it, so I didn't do it for a couple weeks, and then it got to the point where, let's go, Jen, you got to be able to just do it. So you had, my support system was there, coaches were helping me and stuff, and you do it. You go into it saying, I can do it. You did it the first time, and then after you do it that first time, everything just gets easier and easier, and you're not scared to do it anymore. So yeah, the first time I jumped over it, it was ugly. It was pretty ugly, I'm not gonna lie. But every day I said, all right, I did it yesterday, I can do it today. So just kind of taking that first step and that first leap into actually doing the thing that you thought you couldn't accomplish is gonna get you there in the long run. Day after day, it's gonna get better and it's gonna get easier. So don't push yourself into something that you're not ready for, but at the same time, realize when it's just you mentally being a little bit weak or a little bit scared, but your body's actually ready to do it. So my final tip is going to be to trust the process. I am going a little Joel Embiid on this one. Day by day, you're going to get better. There's going to be bad days, there's going to be good days. In the beginning, it might seem like there's a lot more bad days than good, but that number's slowly going to decrease and start to become more good days over time. Don't let them ruin your entire day. Trust the process, know that it's going to get better, and kind of embrace those bad days. What can you get done in a positive standpoint on those bad days? Okay, you might have not been able to, do a straight leg raise today, but did you bend 1 more degree, right? So just take the little successes again, like the last tip from before, and turn those bad days into good days. Find something that you could do to progress on the days that you're not feeling great, and then the days that you are feeling good, go all in. Don't forget that this is only temporary. Yeah, it might be 6 months to a year out of your life that is probably one of the hardest things that you've gone through from a physical and mental standpoint. So realize that, but realize it's also not going to last forever. You're going to get better. It's going to get better. So I'll leave you guys with that, but a positive mindset is really key to everything. If you have a positive attitude going into it, people are going to be around you more, and they're going to be more willing to help you. I noticed the first time I went through my injury, obviously being positive was hard for me. I wasn't mentally tough at all, and I let the bad days really get me down, and I started to be negative and stuff, and that doesn't really make people want to be around you. Even the second time around, I definitely was more positive. I knew what to expect going into it, so that obviously helped a lot. But there were days that I felt like I was discouraged or I really couldn't do it, and I'd let it get to my head sometimes. But having that support system around you, I'm telling you, is key, because those people are only going to bump you up, they're going to push you up and let you know that you can do it, and they're going to help you have confidence on the days that you don't. So those are my 5 tips from a mental standpoint of getting back from an ACL injury, or any injury, in general. This doesn't really just apply to ACL. It applies to any injury that's kind of has a long-term recovery process. But again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you to go do stuff that you're not supposed to be doing, but I am just giving you advice from a personal standpoint of how I got through those injuries and came back on the court feeling better than ever and more confident and more mentally tough. Spent a lot of time that summer just trying to get the feel of my muscles back, especially in quad, hamstrings. Quads were the hardest for me to get back. I had the patellar tendon surgery, so quad muscles really had to get those activated, and that was really what took the longest in my ACL recovery. So one day I just remember coming in here every single day, literally trying to get some sort of feeling in my quad and not have pain in my kneecap area, which is a lot of times what happens with ACL. So the leg press, I would just get on this thing every single day, literally, and just hope that one day, it would feel better. But one day it just clicked. The muscle just finally woke up, and that was a turning point. And I remember it being in here in this little room. So this was a big day for me in here going into junior year, because that's when my quad muscle finally started working in the right way.